Tonight, Barbados is able to make the experience for visitors all the more enjoyable and comfortable by first making the experience enjoyable and comfortable for Barbadians. That's the message Prime Minister Fendell Stewart gave to scores of guests at the Hilton Barbados yesterday as he engaged in a meet and greet event as the champion of the National Tourism Host Program. The Old Fort of the Hilton took on a festival-like atmosphere, inclusive of costumed revelers and music, as the Prime Minister and other top tourism officials mingled with guests.
The primary objective of the government over which I preside, therefore, is to look at every facet of Barbadian life and to ensure that we make this country a comfortable and agreeable and enjoyable place for our citizens. Because only when we do that can we then expect them to extend the kind of warmth and the kind of hospitality, the kind of courtesy which will make our visitors happy when they come here.
Mr. Stewart also underscored the importance of the program in maintaining a personal link with visitors as a way to further enhancing the local tourism sector.
This National Tourism Host Program, therefore, is yet another initiative on the part of the Ministry of Tourism and International Transport to signal the importance we attach to this industry.
Over the past few hours, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair has been meeting the two major public sector unions, the Barbados Workers Union and the National Union of Public Workers, in an attempt to broker a settlement over the customs impasse. Those talks started around 4 o'clock at government headquarters, with Akani McDowell leading the NUPW's delegation and Tony Moore leading the charge for the BWU. The discussions come amid several weeks of industrial action by customs officers. They're protesting the distribution of option forms by the Barbados Revenue Authority for them to join that organization. Ahead of negotiations on the matter, the business community and ordinary Barbadians have complained the go-slow has had a detrimental impact on the way they've been able to conduct business at the Bridgetown port. Well, the NUPW is still awaiting an official report identifying the white powdery substance contained in a package delivered to the union's headquarters about 2 weeks ago. The situation led to the facility being isolated and documents placed in quarantine. President Akani McDowell says he cannot give a confirmation, but there are suggestions about what the substance could be.
The Secretary has said to me, verbally that the officers told her that it was an insecticide, but I am yet to receive a report. That is what I want. I like things to be in writing. I am yet to receive a report saying exactly what the substance was.
Mr. McDonald says the NUPW is open for business, having undergone industrial cleaning. The government is pressing ahead with its efforts to comply with the requirements of the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, or FATCA. FATCA, a federal statute enacted in 2010, requires United States entities and individuals to report their financial accounts held overseas. Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says Barbados has opted to enact FATCA on an intergovernmental basis, collecting and exchanging the required information. The Finance Minister also disclosed that legislative changes to the Income Tax Act approved by Cabinet will soon be taken to Parliament. His comments came at a public consultation organized by the Barbados Revenue Authority at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre.
With respect to legislative requirements, I am pleased to inform that the necessary amendments to the Income Tax Act have been approved by the Cabinet and will shortly be brought to the Parliament. Regarding the IT infrastructure, Barbados is well placed as we have had technology in place and in use for a number of years through some enhancements, or I should say, though some enhancements will be necessary.
Meantime, Director of the Board of the Barbados Revenue Authority, Sandra Osborne, says FATCA represents a paradigm shift in the manner in which tax information is shared.
It is recognized that the implementation of FATCA marks a new era in transparency in taxation and what qualifies as an acceptable standard for exchanging information. Therefore, no longer is the exchange of information that is facilitated by a request made pursuant to double taxation or tax information exchange agreements the absolute norm of information exchange. Rather, under this new regime, the exchange of information will now be by way of a methodical and scheduled system of transmitting taxpayer information.
There's a prediction that the Barbados Water Authority could be debt-free within the next 18 months to 2 years. Agriculture and Water Resource Management Minister Dr. David Estwick made the remarks yesterday during a ceremony for the official handover of the mains in the BWA Ionics Freshwater Limited mains laying project. He says the entity has embarked on several projects to increase profits, including the mains and smart meter replacement programs. Once achieved, he says workers should reap some of the benefits.
I do not believe that anyone should enter the Barbados Water Authority 50 years ago and still be working for the same salary. It is wrong. As long as those persons would have had training and other types of developments in terms of their human resource development and contribution to the institution, once the institution is in a financial position to reward those persons, they should be rewarded.
Dr. Estwick also supports providing incentives for workers' productivity.
I believe that is a good model to follow. It is a reasonable model because I feel that the Barbados Water Authority is involved in a project and it helps to create opportunities for savings of monies. They should benefit from some of that money as well. And these are the sort of principles that I will stand behind, and I will fight hard to make sure the Barbados Water Authority achieve at some particular point in time.
The City of Bridgetown Cooperative Credit Union is tonight distancing itself from a Swan Street organization that has been offering programs of study to Barbadians. The credit union says it is not in business with that particular organization, which has been collecting money from individuals claiming that they're partnering with the COB. This from Chief Executive Officer of the City of Bridgetown Cooperative Credit Union in a press statement.
The fact of the matter is that we occasionally enter into negotiations with a number of suppliers that bring value to our products and services. But in those instances, we communicate out to our members. And in this instance, that was not one of the situations that we've actually established a strategic alliance with.
Mr. Bell is urging members of the public to be mindful of who they release their financial information to, stating the COB has a high standard for its business partners. He says the Royal Barbados Police Force is investigating the matter.
We do a tremendous amount of work in doing due diligence on them before we actually enter any arrangement. And in that regard, they need to be mindful of that, so that we don't end up with a situation where someone is out there indicating that we are being a partner with them, and that person is not necessarily the highest quality. All the persons that we identify with are of the highest, maintain the highest standard of conduct in the way they carry on their business.
We'll have more news in just a moment, but first we want to get your take on this question. Should Barbadians go the extra mile to welcome more visitors to our shores? Text yes or no to short code 8111. We'll have the results at the end of the news.
Shoes, shoes, shoes. Megville is offering good shoes at good prices. Shoes for dress, work, hotel, and restaurant workers. School shoes and casual wear shoes. Go to Megville, where you'll always get good shoes at good prices. Located in Tudor Street, High Street, and Palmetto Street in Bridgetown.
The brands of summer in store at My Cave Shepherd and Colombian Emeralds International. This summer, you can afford to indulge in all the brands you love. Get to My Cave Shepherd, the home of quality, authentic, affordable brands, and CEI for exquisite quality and exceptional value. Reward yourself with affordable treats all summer long and be fabulous in your circle of friends. Get your brands. Enjoy your summer.
Beat the heat with a cold Baico treat. Bond products from Baico are now at super low prices. Indulge yourself with real fruit bar flavors in the new chocolate fudge bar, just $1.50, and the nutty choco nut bar, now only $2. Offer available for a limited time only from participating retail outlets, Baico Mobilers and Baico Direct Outlet at Harbour Road.
Dear Clark, I've made a fascinating discovery. The institutional water cooler. Its gravitational pull sucks people from their workstations at the busiest times of day to stand around it and chat about emerging global trends like, will pink be in fashion next season? Meanwhile, the world slows to a stop as it waits in line to be served. I don't see that trend at Globe Finance.
Globe Finance. Think outside the bank.
When it comes to their financial service, slow is out, swift is in.
This week on 18 Degrees North, the latest war on terror. Caribbean nationals heading to Iraq and Syria to fight for ISIS.
My ambition is to migrate to the Islamic State and live within the caliphate.
What life is really like for Trinidadians already living there.
It's really boring at times. You know, it's really cold.
On the next episode of 18 Degrees North.
Airing Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CBC, with a repeat broadcast Sundays at 5:30 p.m. and brought to you by Rainforest Seafoods.
Make no mistake when you're looking for the #1 source of the latest business news in Barbados, the region, and beyond. It has to be The Bottom Line, produced and presented by me, Ryan Broom, every weekday morning on CBC's 94.7 FM at 7:50 a.m. It comes to you with the kind compliments of the Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union Limited, reminding you to save smart and borrow smarter. So remember, make it your business to tune into The Bottom Line, the best source for business news on the radio.
Ocean 2 Resort is catering to its visitors who come to Barbados in the middle of the crop over season but will leave before the big jump up on Monday. Operations Manager Paul Cullimore says this is the third year for these festivities, highlighting local cuisine, music and craft vendors.
We are putting on this event for our guests who are probably coming in the middle of our crop over season and probably will be leaving before Grand Kadooment Day. And this is really the opportunity to give them a taste of what is happening in terms of the music, the cultural activities as well.
Lawmen are still looking into the circumstances surrounding the fire which broke out at Jordan's Supermarket on Baxter's Road last night. From initial reports, CBC understands an unidentified person allegedly entered the building and set fire to items on one of the shelves. It was a scare for shoppers at the city business, but luckily there was no major damage. Only a few items were reportedly burnt and a wall in the city business partially scorched as staff took matters into their own hands using fire extinguishers to put out the blaze. Fire officials got the call just after 7 last night and responded with 2 tenders and 7 officers under the command of Sub-Officer John Bowen. When the team arrived on the scene, the situation appeared under control. Acting Deputy Principal Nursing Officer at the Psychiatric Hospital, Sandra Barrow, says staff of the mental institution are often victims of discrimination from members of the public. She was speaking during a presentation for nurses at the Barbados Public Workers Credit Union.
It appeared to me as though persons label you when you work at the psychiatric hospital. Even the staff complain that they get labels and things like, don't mind them down there, all of them bad. So staff live with the label too.
Ms. Barrow admits, however, that the discrimination levels are not as high as before. She believes educating the society is a step in the right direction.
I must say, though, it is not as bad as before because persons now are becoming more educated to mental health, and therefore you're finding that you're becoming more acceptable in terms of nursing care and in terms of having to look out for patients and dealing with them in the community. You find a more kinder approach, a softer approach, I should say.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. But first,